Don't wait till the night before Christmas to be good.
And in 3, 2, 1, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 92 of the Prehistoric Podcast, part 4 in our 12th podcast of Christmas. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Francois the Nation.
I'm Andrew Source Claus. It's going to be hard to top Mortimer Goth, I gotta say.
That was my last one. You remember Mortimer?
From the
original
Sims games?
Sims?
Mortimer
the
Goth from the
Goth
Sims, yeah.
I am Dr. Isaac Yankum, famed WWF dentist wrestler.
Like Yankum?
Former Kane. No, like yank the teeth out.
Yeah, he was an evil dentist. And we have a very special guest with us today.
Brad.
Long-time watcher, longest time watcher, maybe.
Brad Peterson?
Brad Peterson.
That's me.
So today we talked about Zavoomafoo. Anyway,
And the
there's
Pratt brothers.
booze in this bag. Let's talk about it. On the fourth
podcast of Christmas, Prehistoric Productions drank for me 4 flutes of champagne.
We just gonna drink this whole goddamn bottle.
You gotta check the time here. Okay, good. I got her.
You want to pass me that paper there, Brad, while we're pouring drinks?
You betcha, buddy. Dallas, he didn't ask you. Holy Christ, Dr. Isaac, fuck off.
So,
Okay.
Dallas, one thing we're doing on this 12 podcast of Christmas, instead of Would You Rathers, is we have the black cards from Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, wow.
And we're just
I
gonna-
inverted them white
Yeah.
so they're cheaper to
Yeah.
print.
because we're cheap like that. But we're going to read them out, and instead of obviously picking from a hand of cards,
How
you're
did
going
we
to
do
just
this last time?
think of an answer and
So I make up my own other card.
other card. Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta do it like this.
I'm sorry, Professor. Oh, excuse me. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, Professor.
Happy Christmas!
I'm sorry, Professor, but I couldn't complete my homework because of blank.
Okay, hold on. I need...
So fill in the
At
blank.
least 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Fill
I
in the
need
blank.
some time.
This to everybody. I'm sorry, Professor. I couldn't complete my homework because of blank.
I was sleeping. It's supposed to be
A
funny,
very,
isn't
a
it?
very, well,
supposed to be
it's-
funny.
whatever you think. You're,
Because my assignment is covered in fermented donkey semen. And the donkey was milked by a Visigoth. you'll know that the Visigoths were a society that existed.
Now, how long?
I believe in the late 12 or early 1300s.
Now, how long has this semen been fermenting?
Well,
What's the goal?
like I said,
What's
the
goal?
Visigoths went out of
Is this to create some type of hallucinogen out of this?
Okay,
donkey
so the
semen, or-
Visigoths went into extinction, I guess, as they melded into other tribes. I think in the late 1300s. So we're talking like 200 or 300-year-old fermented donkey semen. Here's to the Visigoths.
Do you get fucked up on cum?
Yes, you can. You can make it into alcohol. People make their own cum into alcohol.
I was reading a. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I
Just
saw a
never
thing the other
wanted,
day.
I just never ever wanted to know that.
These people somewhere overseas are making beer with pee.
Piss beer, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Pissner, actually.
Yeah.
I
So
saw-
cheers to the Visigoths.
Cheers
Thank you for making
to the
cum beer.
Visigoths.
Thanks for making cum beer.
I also saw a thing about women making yogurt and cheese from their
Oh, Jesus, Andrew.
their vagine.
Of their personal yeasts. Yes, we don't care.
bread.
We
And,
don't care.
I'm just.
Yeah, you don't want to know the answer? Good blowjob from my grandma. That's the answer to you talking about whatever you're going to go on about.
All right, Fred. I'm sorry, Professor, but I couldn't complete my homework because of.
You told me I didn't have to if I fucked you.
That's
There
a
you go.
That's a great answer.
Yes, Scott, our producer, will love that answer. Our producer,
I
Scott.
like that. I didn't
Armando.
complete my homework because you said I didn't have to if I fucked
They
you.
bugged you, which did happen
What happened?
recently.
Did you forget?
I'm sorry,
Say, "All
Professor,
right."
but I couldn't complete my homework because of violent herpes.
That's a
Flare.
card. Give me that.
It's not a card.
That's a yellow card for me. You little weirdo. MTV's new
Wow.
reality show features 8 washed-up celebrities living with blank.
Black people.
That would be entertaining. I'm
Okay,
not
so
gonna lie.
Key and Peele did this segment, I remember, with this puppet.
Called Lil Homie.
What?
Lil
Man,
Homie.
I was scared. I was actually fucking terrified of you going, like, saying that. I was like, he's gonna forget again. I know it. He's gonna forget again.
I was under the influence of alcohol.
MTV's new reality show features 8 washed-up celebrities living with blank.
Cultural appropriation.
And that'll segue us into our next topic, where Francois and Andrew argue for the rest of the podcast.
We get into a verbal fist fight, and then an actual fist fight.
That'd be a short-lived fist fight.
Yes.
I have a chin of glass. I will go down in one punch.
One thing that I love working in this company is that each of the individuals knows and strongly believes that if they were to engage in a fight, that they have the glassiest chin.
And we would lose. Like, everyone's like, it's like if I fought Francois, I would fucking lose.
I would go down the
Yeah,
quickest.
go so quick.
It would be me first, then Andrew, and then Francois would fall to himself.
You know?
I'm just saying.
None of us are like, I would win in a fight between any combination of us.
No. If this was a Vegas thing and people were taking bets in Vegas.
Yeah, but that doesn't... Long odds. Miracle on Ice. Long odds.
But I'm just
Anyway.
saying I would be the long
Now, Dallas,
odds guy.
who do you think among us, if there was like a mini fight club, let's say, who would come out victorious?
You're all too different. I think Andrew's got power.
Yeah. I got some weight behind me. I got some power for sure.
I don't know.
I think
Honestly, I think Francois, and here's why. Because you and...
headlock.
It's
No.
unreasonable.
No, because Brad and Andrew would tire each other out, and Francois could just sit where he's sitting, sipping the champagne, and eventually
He finishes it off.
he would just...
It'd be a
Step
mental
in.
game. I would
Just
root-
piss-
I
just
would-
piss
I
on our
would-
bodies.
I would play you against each other like Frank Underwood or Kevin Spacey.
Or that bald guy in Princess Bride.
So,
Yeah,
Andrew,
that guy. I would be like, what does he say?
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your take on cultural appropriation? Why should we care?
Why should we care? I think it's a very, in all seriousness, if we actually want to tackle this, and I'm not just going to play the devil's advocate, I think that it's a very tough issue. It's a very fine line to skirt, because obviously there are people's feelies and believies that are at stake here. And the ultimate question is, how much should we give a fuck about those feelings and believies, and should we value those more than other people's right to free speech, free expression, and the like? And I think, to me, I just value people's right to express themselves more than I think we should be like worried about cultural appropriation.
Honestly, for me, like, in the last
on the
episode,
whole.
Preparation H. At the last episode, you brought up... So, Dallas, on the last episode, you weren't
I was not here.
here, and you haven't seen it yet.
I have not.
It hasn't been released.
You haven't seen it yet.
Now, I mean, you will be watching it. Now, Andrew brought up a really good point, and that was a really good story. I mean, where I'm going to make it my own hypothetical based on some facts I know about it. Essentially, 2 white chicks, I'm not talking about 2 African Americans pretending to be white for film,
Right.
2 Caucasian women opened a Mexican, Hispanic food restaurant, we'll say.
Okay.
And people got upset. You're not Hispanic. Don't open that goddamn restaurant.
That's cultural appropriation. You're cooking Spanish. You're cooking Mexican food. You're racists. You're cultural appropriators. Fuck you.
Now,
Who said that?
Like,
society
again,
on the whole, preparation.
people on the internet, ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean, really, when you get down to it, it's like, don't give a fuck about what people say on the internet is the ultimate, like, the real kernel to this. But I don't know.
So, I'm going to raise an interesting point as a complete counterpoint. Is it not kind of a celebration of their culture that I would cook their food over mine because I love Mexican food?
Here's a real world example. All these sports teams that are being asked or
That's a little different.
well, it isn't though. Like some of them are, but okay. So Edmonton Eskimos, for example, I don't think that when they made that team, it was meant to be a derogatory.
No.
I don't think any of them were meant to be derogatory.
Well, the
It's
Washington Redskins.
I was gonna say
I was
like
gonna say
there is
that's the one that's
there's
Yeah,
literally
like, I
no
don't- like,
difference between.
It's
a great point. that you
It's
brought up,
awful.
though.
It's an awful name. But it's like I just think when naming the team, it wasn't like we're doing this because it's racist towards Native Americans. It's like we're doing this because it's like it's the same
Eskimos
idea.
are-
It's the same idea as Blackhawks. It's a
See,
tribe of warrior.
and now
people,
for me, I
and they
like
just,
the
They
Blackhawks.
just used the Blackhawks. That's a tribe. Like,
It's
I mean,
a specific-
That's different. Their logo maybe. You can
I
make
just
an
don't.
argument for
I don't really understand
depending on its accuracy.
how
I guess.
saying
But
a name of something makes it racist. Like what? I get Redskins. That one's a little offside.
I mean,
but like beyond that,
I would say I would sorry to cut you off, but I think the difference with Redskins is like it would be, and I'm going to say a big word here because I don't believe in saying the N word. It would be the equivalent of a team being like the Louisville Chinks or the Detroit Niggers. And it's like because like Redskins is a literal racial slur, and there is a difference between that specific usage because it's
Honestly, like
it is a racial slur.
If I were to say it out loud to a person of that ethnic background, as
you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
like I would be getting up there
You're talking about
with the word we
Redskins.
used to call Jews.
Oh, yeah, no,
which
that's-
is like it's a
No, that's terrible.
that's right. But
It's like being like like anything, using a person's skin color and then referring to them as their skin color is like it's probably not good. It's like I don't really want to be called Whitey, and it's like I mean that's not whatever, but it's
kind of
like
like Transformers.
I wouldn't like it either. It's similar to Transformers, yes.
I'm still gonna keep bringing that up.
it is like Transformers 3: Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon. Now you raised a really good point.
Okay, but here's one. Just taking Redskins out of it. What about the Chiefs, for example? How is that not anything but celebratory to that?
Yeah, I totally agree on that one. Now that I really look at it, now that I have brought such insight to this topic.
I mean,
What,
It's a case.
what's
It's a case.
derogatory
It's a
about that
case
one,
for
though?
case thing.
Yeah, but now they're like, yeah, I don't know.
It's just more like to me if the entire group of people that you've used their name is like please don't do that, then it's like don't fucking do it. Like why do you need that?
but
name?
they're probably not all.
No. I'm just saying like if a large enough group, like most of them are being like we don't like this. It's like just don't fucking do it. Like I don't. Why can't you change your name to the fucking Lions or the whatever the fuck? Like
To me,
why
like
does it
again,
matter?
aside from Redskins, like to me, the way I see it is like that's like a lion saying we can't call the team the Lions because it's offensive to lions. Like, is it or
Lions aren't people.
no? I get it, but it's like what just using the name doesn't make it offensive if it's not an offensive term.
Yeah,
like
like-
Chiefs, for example. Chiefs, I can go around saying Chief all day.
I mean,
But that's the thing is like
Ostracized
like we don't
for
get
it.
to just decide what is and isn't offensive always. Like some things like
Well, everything's
it's like you have to
offensive,
listen to why they feel it is offensive. It's like maybe you on first examination you're like you're like it's fine whatever. It's like we're celebrating their culture, but it's like they're like well it's like the headdress thing to me too. It's like well no that's actually completely different. I don't know why I said that, but it's just like there are certain things in their culture that we don't maybe fully understand what significance they have. Or like whatever, it's like a chief is like a respected elder, mate. Like just to like, I'm pulling out bullshit here just to make a hypothetical argument. But it's like, let's say it's a very respected member of their community that's not. Well, yeah, I don't really know. I'm speaking hypothetically. I'm gonna say I'm speaking hypothetically. I might be completely accurate here. But yeah, a very respected elder member of their community that they don't necessarily want to be the name of your sports team. It's like. It's like for the Catholics maybe it would be like these are the popes. It's like it's their chief of their clan, but it's like they don't really want you.
But then at what point? Like okay, so I agree. Like they maybe have more credence, but like as soon as you kowtow to someone who's offended, then everyone's feeling of offense has to be considered. And it's like just because you're offended, you don't get special consideration or special rights. You can say what you want to say, and we can listen, and we can. And that's where that needs to go. Like,
I'd say,
at what point is PETA going to be like, we can't use animal names, that's offensive to animal rights,
exactly.
and I'm offended by the Lions because I love
right
lions.
now it
It's just
sounds crazy,
like
but there's
like
no
I said,
reason.
I still
Exactly.
don't want a sports team to be the N-words. Like, there is a line, and we do have to listen to people who say this is not okay. And
Right.
it is good to listen to people that say it is not okay and be like, why is it not okay? Oh, you're right. That's kind of fucked up. And then it's like, maybe we'll change that one. and then maybe we won't listen to the PETA fucking like. There are lines. It's not. It isn't just a black and white.
Also,
it's
like, on
it's
that same
degrees
point,
of gray.
Nobody, I mean, as a counterpoint to a positive reason for naming, like, nobody names, like, the Caucasians or the Popes. Because we suck. And, like...
Well, no, because the whites aren't self-referential about anything. Like these teams were all started by rich white guys.
Vikings would be the only one, but...
Oh, yeah, that's true, I guess.
They're the best white people.
And I mean, like, that's, like, ancient...
Spartans
like,
and the
and the
Vikings.
Senators, like, that's, like, ancient history at this point. So, I mean, like, it's...
Right,
like,
but...
Argonauts.
Sorry, but I think
Jason was an Argonaut.
I think your point is a good one, Dallas. Is like, as long as it's... If it's not, like, a racial slur, because I think that's a different... Like, that's pretty obviously...
Yeah, my personal feeling of professional sports teams that I know of, the only one that I personally feel is probably offside is Redskins, and I can see why. But beyond that, like the Chiefs and the Braves, it's
for me, it's the Indians.
Indians.
That's
the
also
Indians, too.
And it's not even like they don't want to be called Indians. It's not right because
just-
there are actual Indians.
And it's...
And don't stop calling them the
it's
It's
Indians.
like if they're the Indians, they should have to switch to, like,
It's like
the East Indians.
It's
like,
horribly inaccurate. It's like it's celebrating colonial ignorance, and it's like this is a bad thing.
I also
any.
Also, it's like because people in
Like-
India don't give a damn about North American First Nations people, they don't. But it's like if you talk to Indian people, and like I don't like calling them East Indian because they're not East Indian, they're just Indians, and these are Native Americans. But it's like if you talk to them, it's
First
like
Nations people.
it's like they're Indians. It's like why do you call them Indians? It's like because we thought they were Indians. They weren't. You were Indians way before.
We like some explorer guy.
Columbus.
You're not Indians?
Columbus.
Nah, you're Indians.
Yeah, you're Indians.
You're
for
Indians
years,
for
for years
thousands
and
of
years.
Yeah.
Well, that's Russell Peters, right? Yeah.
That's-
What? You're not Indians? Nah, you're Indians.
That's the whole thing is that
You're Indians.
we Western Europeans had the word Indian already pegged. Like that was the word for Indians.
Well,
we had traded with
Yeah,
them.
because the whole thing is they said that's what they were aiming for. They didn't know this landmass fucking existed, and then they got here and they're like,
Like it's not even that it's super offensive. It's like it's just really wrong. So stop doing it.
It's incorrect.
It's celebrating.
Like the Swift Current
Ignorance.
Indians changed before the Cleveland Indians, which I'm pretty impressed. And the 57s, the reason they named them that's kind of lame.
Because they were Indians for 57 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit like you're not quite breaking away from it, but
Yeah.
You tried.
Yeah.
it's an effort.
Where are the Indians for 57 years with the 57s, though?
It's like
57 years of Indian pride.
And to me, it's like even that issue of like sports teams seems so different from like the like Katy Perry having to apologize for having dreadlocks in a video, and like these two girls, like these two women who started the burrito place, who are like how are these two things even?
I just love
in the
that.
same
I love
realm?
that this is completely on my own perspective and my own visualization of this, but it's a bunch of people, and what I guess we would colloquially call ethnic minorities, which I guess you're probably not a minority in most cases, but standing around going like, watch all these dumb white people argue about whether or not they're allowed to use our names we don't care about.
That's the other thing that's like really.
It's like, stop using dreadlocks. It's like, you're also white. Like, none of the black people care. Why do you care?
It's all these super liberal white people who are looking for things to be pissed off about.
At other white people.
At other white people. Like I would say like the cases that actually kind of matter, they have some support from the group that is.
Yeah.
But it's still primarily outraged white people who are like, this is racist and it offends me. It's like, why the fuck are you like? Why the fuck do you care?
You know who's skin in the game.
They have some red skin in the game.
That's true. It's kind of like I don't remember his name. That comedian with the long hair that he does that rant about being offended. It's all over Facebook. He's like, go ahead and be offended. Like nothing happens. Like.
Oh, Russell Brand, maybe?
No, he's British.
Yeah.
he's very Russell Brand.
Oh, Tim Minchin, I think, the guy who does the
Anyway.
"Fuck the Pope" song.
It doesn't matter what his name is, but anyway, it's he goes in that rant.
He's
about,
old.
Like, not really.
In his 40s.
Ricky Gervais does, or not Ricky Gervais.
He looks like Weird Al.
Stephen Fry does one.
Stephen Fry does it as well.
He looks like a Weird Al guy. He's like tall, skinny, long, curly hair. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure that's Russell Brand.
It's not Russell Brand. I don't know who Russell Brand is, but it's not him. Anyway, he goes on that whole rant about like people being offended about everything. He's like, just be offended. Like nothing happens. Like
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I can't do this. I'm offended. Okay, be offended.
See you later.
Well, that's the thing.
Then what?
That's the thing with free speech is that it's I think it's like we're looking for like how to like stop people from being offensive, and it's the exact opposite of what we should be doing. It's teach people how to not be offended by stuff, or how to react differently when they are offended. Like it's pretty easy to not, like, if you're offended by this podcast, don't fucking watch it, and then it's done, and you don't have to worry about it. And the people who like it can continue to watch it, and the people who don't want anything to do with it don't have to have anything to do with it.
Like with the free speech thing, I think it's like being offended is also part of free speech, and like getting to be offended. And it's like, that's the thing, is like it's all free speech. Like being offended is a part of free speech. Being fucking racist is a part of free speech. Like being ridiculous is a part, like it's all free speech. And these are all examples of free speech, and like the fact that we live in a free speech society. So it's like none of it is counter free speech. Being offended is free speech. Being racist is free speech.
That's the thing. We
complain about free speech
grown up
in the defense of free speech. It's weird.
And we've now grown up in this super sheltered culture, and like for me this really harkens back to like crazy fascism, like Nazi Germany, like restricting free speech. And like I watch a lot of Hitler stuff. Everything about Hitler.
Exclusively Hitler stuff, some would say.
I only watch PBS documentaries on how not awesome Hitler was. And
maybe a little bit.
It's really scary how they, like, the Nazis would like move into Czechoslovakia. It's like, don't say anything bad or we'll kill you. And people don't appreciate like that we can just say whatever we want. And there's not guys in trench coats with guns that will kill you.
Mm-hmm. I guess like I to your point, Fran, absolutely being offended is part of free speech. To me, where it gets a little bit like, and again, it's not like bar these people from saying what they want, but it's when it's like we get a mob of people together to try to fuck someone's life up because they said something that we don't like. And it's like, yeah, that's part of free speech. When you cross into trying to bring harm to somebody, that's where it's like, maybe this is the same way
too. It's different. Like it's different if somebody makes a Facebook post about how offended they are versus how we change rules and games and names and all that
absolutely.
Stuff
when it's applied
to the people that are offended.
Policy, it's completely different. Like when it's somebody trying to change policy and law, it's like when you're offended and then you're like, we need to change this rule. Then it's like,
yeah, that's one thing.
Then it gets tough.
I think,
but it's like the whole, like you said, being offended on Facebook, and like we said, we've talked about this a lot of times.
As annoying as it is, it's your right.
One of the best things about free speech, and we've talked about this a lot of times, is it creates the court of the people.
Yeah. And
that is the best court in the world, because that's the thing. You have a racist motherfucker, and guess what? Everybody's being like, you're a racist motherfucker, we're not associating with you. And that's the best thing. I don't want a racist to go to, depends on what kind of racist. I don't want a verbal racist. Like if it's a violent racist, obviously I want to go to prison. But if it's somebody shouting racist slurs on the street, I don't want him to go to prison. I don't want him to be hurt. I just want nobody to speak to him or want anything to do with him. And I want nobody to go to his business. And like that's what I want. I want the population. I want the population to choose who they support and who they don't support because of the fucked up things they do or don't do. Right. If they're good people, we'll support them. If they're not good people, we don't support them. That's free speech creates this beautiful. That is what it creates. It creates this beautiful thing where it's like we don't need people with jackbooted thugs to tell us what we can and can't do and what we should and shouldn't do. We get to decide who's racist. We get to decide who's a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
and that's what I like.
Did you guys know Hitler was on meth a lot?
Yeah, the whole German army was on amphetamines. Yeah, I read that.
Anyway, I guess the point we're trying to make is
to wrap it up.
Everybody either owns a TJ's or a Vern's Pizza, and if they're racist, don't go to that particular TJ's or Vern's for single slice dino or monster pizzas or whatever they're called.
I have a thing.
Please.
Show us.
What's your little thing?
Why does Swade, because he always brings me up, why does Swade get on so many podcasts all the time and get his own series, and he's got all these
You got a series? Are you talking about Ghost or Special?
No, well, that too, but not even that.
He got one episode of Brad Plays, and he was
not
Even
even that.
Brad Well Down Under. That's not Swade's series.
The car podcast to Metallica and back. That was the Swade show.
You could have went.
I could have.
You were invited. I'm gonna say this. It might. Was he invited first?
Yes.
You were invited
invited before Swade.
I don't
yeah.
care. Swade, fuck you.
Yeah, as long
You're
as that's out there, then I'm cool. As long as Swade knows that he was second pick.
I can't.
It's all about being second.
That's all that really matters.
I just like, it's
Everything
way
else
better to
doesn't matter
have
now.
2 rabid fans than 1 million views per podcast. It's like 2 people who really hate each other about the podcast. Everything else is copacetic.
Every
between the
time
two of
he's
them.
on here, he brings up how he's done something before me. I got on a car one before you did. Every time.
Did he do that on Brad Will Down Under?
You did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did exactly that.
Well, tell him.
And I think
He hasn't been on 12 podcasts of Christmas.
This
He
is
made
your
it-
second trip, and he hasn't been on 12 podcasts
but
of Christmas
the
yet.
one video podcast he was
That's
on, he
this
made a
way.
crack, and I can't. What did he say? On one of the video podcasts, he made a crack at you too.
Oh.
Can't remember what it was.
Something about who's #1 fan, and he's like, I'm.
He's seen everyone or something,
Yeah.
and like something like that.
Actually, last year,
Fucking baby duck.
I went on shortly after being on this podcast last year, Jesse and I went on our honeymoon. So when I came back, we were gone for 2 weeks. When I came back, I was like 2 or 3 podcasts behind. Didn't let me live it down. I saw him at like Boxing Day. He's like, "How funny was that last one?" I'm like, "Oh, I haven't actually seen it yet. I'm like 2 behind." And then he just like the whole time, it's like, "I'm the bigger fan than you are."
And silently, Mackenzie Cater waits in the shadows
Yeah,
to become the
She's
ultimate
never been
fan.
on one.
we were just talking.
That's
about it
nuts.
before.
We should
That's
go to
crazy.
Calgary to film a podcast with Mackenzie.
But I think I even talked to her about it, and she didn't sound that like interested in being on one. She just was like, "I listen, I don't partake." Like it's so much fun though.
Anyway,
What?
Hitler was great.
Oh, is that hurt your feelings?
What?
Mackenzie not wanting to be on the podcast?
I don't give a fuck. I'm bigger than that. Anyway,
Dude, what's the like Boba Fett and the
so, I guess we 3 sit as either men with a son or child or about to have. So, cheers to everybody's son or the son that's here.
Cheers to the sons and the sons or the daughters to be. Oh wait, do you know the
Dallas is having he's not going to tell us the gender.
I do, but you don't know.
So Dallas isn't going to tell us the gender on the episode today, Jesse. You'll never watch this.
It gets to choose.
I think the big thing is raise your child as non-binary, like no gender.
Like a white,
Or-
all white clothing,
or-
shaved
As
head.
white, but
As
but
white.
no gender.
It's only white.
No gender, no right, or I will be calling CPS because it's child abuse.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Most-
Also,
I
saw
if
this
you
thing.
gender your dogs,
That is animal
We have
abuse.
problems.
That is fucking
Well,
animal
technically
abuse.
they're both it's anyway, so
All right.
Good. Like I think we can all rest easy knowing that you don't gender your dogs, and that's good.
that's right.
That's very good. That's a step in the right direction for
A
sure.
leap. One giant leap.
For human-animal gender relations,
Buzz, 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 and Buzz Aldrin.
we're not aiming for the truck.
Oh no.
Pretty amazing to sit here for 80 episodes with my son.
Well, he just recently became your actual son.
He did.
I think it was
Got
always,
adopted
It
or
was
what?
a while ago.
You adopted him?
basically.
Yeah.
Officially, I would say like the paperwork officially came through recently.
Yeah.
But he's been the acting legal guardian for some time.
Yes.
For a while.
Yes.
Like mom and dad, they're not really in the picture. They're kind of like,
Well, Mom moved to Moose Jaw.
well,
No, she doesn't like.
Adopted
She doesn't
one.
like us anymore.
No. Real
No,
Mom.
real
Real
mom.
mom.
It was in Moose Jaw.
yeah, because she cares about her career.
I'm okay.
more than this family.
I am okay with qualifying parenthood based on how many kilometers away you are from Francois. And it's like the parent has to be at least 100 times closer than the other parent. And I win. Big
We
time.
should get you two in a group chat so you can say, "I win." Just like one message a day, and he's like, "What are you saying?"
Just facts, Fonny. I need you to sign these papers forfeiting your parental rights.
Keep sending him legal
like I'm a
documentation.
23-year-old man.
Forfeiture parental rights. I'll be looking after the boy now.
Keep sending him documents that it's very important for a boy to have contact with his father.
Actually,
Don't refer to him as like just refer
honestly-
to him as the boy.
Honestly, though, as not a joke, we should register me as your next of kin. Because it's...
I did that a while ago.
Oh, good.
No, I don't know if I did you, but like, I did. It was like grade 12 when I did that, so it wouldn't be you, obviously, but it might be like one of my sisters.
Yeah, we should get rid of that because that's not good either. So, because like if you die, there's no point in contacting him. It's like your son died. Enjoy the warm weather. Like it's nighttime wherever you are because if you are on the opposite side of the world, it's always night when things happen. So you're not much good to your son who died.
It's like
and you
8
left him
hours
there.
ago.
Yeah,
It's like he's in critical condition. I guess we'll see you when he's dead.
They
Like,
phone him. It's like, yeah, we're sleeping. Call back in 8 hours.
yeah. Don't call.
It's like your son is dead. I don't. Shush.
It's nighttime here always. Speaking of which, interesting. This is the first time it's ever happened to me.
It's nighttime.
I got a text from my parents who recently went to
the
Beijing.
Orient. Yes.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts. That's awesome.
They went to China, and I got a text from my mother that said, "Hey, guess what? We landed 7 o'clock later tonight." And I was like, "Yeah, that is weird."
Is that what you said? Didn't make no sense.
Because like when you talk to people in Europe, they're behind us.
No,
Other way around.
They'd be ahead of us. Australia's behind us.
Right.
Yeah, Europe's ahead.
But
Because Hawaii is.
I guess I just never talked
South
to...
Africa's 8
I never
hours
had
ahead.
that communication with Europe. It was like, Mom's like, "Hey, guess what? We landed later today already. And we're going to bed because it's tonight."
I think everything's ahead of we are.
Vancouver's like the dead end.
Well, I think even like New Zealand, they're technically ahead of us. I think.
If you travel far enough, you can go somewhere yesterday.
Yes.
But there's somewhere that's not.
interesting.
There's somewhere that's
If
not.
you fly China to Vancouver, you're definitely going back.
Well, there's somewhere that's not possible because there's somewhere where the time.
Also,
begins.
why is Newfoundland on the half hour? And it's the only place in the world that's on the half hour.
Yeah, that's just because they're the Maritimes and they're fucked. What does it
You
do?
know that?
What is it?
What did you say?
Newfoundland is on the half hour.
What is it? What does a
they're
girl
a
from
half hour
Like
ahead?
the whole globe is on hours, except Newfoundland and Labrador are on the half hour different.
actually?
Yes.
What does a girl from Newfoundland say after she has sex?
It's a half hour from now.
Dad, get off me! You're crushing my smokes.
They are incest smokers. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us.
Love that in South Park. They're trying to take away me right to sodomize me boys. My right to sodomize my boys.
Newfoundland Labrador, he wouldn't be talking to me like that if he seen me car. Pretty exciting. Dallas.
Dallas Kirkpatrick here on the podcast.
Tell us a little bit about the community, the Malamute Husky Instagram community.
No.
Is it a-
Our viewers want you to qualify that with an answer.
I'm the viewers, and I say I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about the Malamute
Sorry,
Husky,
hashtag Malamute
Huskies of
There you
Instagram.
go. There you go.
So, I guess on the last episode, we talked about how Francois made a lesion on his testicles with a razor. So I'm going to ask you this.
We did talk about that.
I think it was.
That's our. I'm
Do
talking.
you enjoy winter?
I'm talking to our producer off camera, Armando.
What?
No, Sean.
We gave her a name.
Steven.
Steven.
You gotta be like
Steven.
Jonathan Pye.
Quiet, Steven!
Tim, no.
Dallas, do you love winter or do you miss summer?
Oh,
Why? What's the...
just
Francois
Answer the
really
question.
dislikes winter.
there's nothing good about this season.
I like both, but I wish we had more summer than we do. I would give up 2 months of winter to get 2 more.
That's such a tame bullshit answer. Why can't you be a winter communist like, I wish this season would never end, comrade?
Because
The
cold.
Like I
I
said,
don't like the cold, but I like snow. I like hockey's my favorite sport.
You actually do stuff in winter, so it's like you actually have a
You
valid...
can do stuff in winter.
I don't
I'm
want to
so
do things in
disappointed
winter.
in you.
I don't want to play hockey.
Tell him to shut the screen off. He needs to go outside for a couple
Skype.
hours.
Skype from Skype.
The thing is, like, the things I want to do in winter, I could do in 2 weeks. I don't need 6 fucking months of this bullshit season. Christmas is 1 day. It's 1 fucking day.
I can make 20 degrees indoors. I can't make it snow in here.
It sucks. So
I
it
simulate
sucks.
summer
it's frozen
for you.
Fucking water. It makes things wet.
I simulate summer in here for you.
Year round.
Year round.
It was not summer last night.
No, I shut the furnace off for the podcast and forgot to turn it back on.
It was like
And
it was like 5 in here. It was so cold.
Oh, I missed that.
And I couldn't, I can't believe I didn't think of it right away, but it's like I went to go shut it on, and then I'm like, oh, I guess this thing's fucked, so I went back up, and it was just freezing, and I didn't think about it until the next morning. It's like, oh, we flipped the fucking break.
When Brad and I were at Luther, I'm sure we've said this a billion times, actually, but when we were at Luther, we would put socks around the radiator so the radiator wouldn't turn on, and open all the windows at -40, so it would be really cold in our room, so we could sleep for longer. Because we hated our lives and wanted to not be there anymore.
We wanted to die.
It's like it's like this is a lethal cold amount.
Yep.
See, I really like warm weather, but I would rather be too cold than too hot. Most people will be the other way, but
100% agree.
No, I'm 100% in agreement.
No, I'm
It's way easier to warm up than it is to cool down. If you're cold all the time, wear a fucking sweater. Don't turn the heat up. Fuck you.
The experience of being cold is way worse than the experience of being hot for me.
that, just like Andrew said, though, you can't get cooled down quickly unless you're by water.
Yeah.
Also, sitting naked is a very cathartic, nice experience, and you can't do it in winter. You cannot sit there naked in winter.
It's like, yes, you can.
Indoors, yeah.
No, you
Good, you
can't.
can.
You'll die. No, you can't.
No, I have.
Yeah,
you just sit naked outside.
I thought like not
Do you
like
do
a
that in the
long
summer?
exposure.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, in summer, well, you could say the same thing. It's like you could also wear a parka during summer, technically. Not for a long time, but you can do it.
Why is it that you insist on being such a bad son? Episode 5, we're already upset.
Is
Did we say the 5th?
4.
This is 4 on the 4th episode of Christmas.
My true love
My true son gave to
put in my mouth
Oof.
2 or 3 fingers. No, we're not doing that.
do it.
What's
Are you your dad?
what does Roger do in
I don't know
American?
where my
He-
I can't I can't account for these for a lot. Like I showered this morning.
Right in your butthole.
Like I probably I probably scratched my butt. There's butt shit on here probably. Shit butt. Shit from my butt.
Sean
What
loves
about-
that.
what about
Sean, our
Dick-
producer.
Why shit? Why did I say shit?
What about dick farts?
Dallas, it's
Have you heard of dick farts? They're a real thing.
No, I haven't.
When you have
don't.
certain types of intestinal diseases, Crohn's disease specifically can lead to, I don't know exactly, this is probably super not correct, like somehow your bladder forms connection to your intestines and gas can be released into your bladder that then has to be expelled through your urethra, such that creating the phenomenon of penile flatulence,
also known as dick farting.
also known as dick farting.
How scared would you be if your dick farted?
I don't.
Apparently,
Yeah, so-
apparently they're much louder and they're more high pitched.
I would not like that.
It would be a whistling for sure.
How would...
Is a dick fart worse than a
like,
queef?
I feel
I was gonna say, is a dick fart like a fart, or is a dick fart a queef?
Worse than a queef. What does that mean?
I'm just saying, like, is it worse than a queef?
for who?
A queef.
Well, queefs are like super common.
How is it worse for anyone?
I'm saying,
You can't
is it
do
worse?
both. You can't do both. Like, is it worse, like, to someone else? To a third party? Or
I guess.
Well, the dick
What's the-
fart
what's
would
the
be
smell
worse because
factor?
like, whatever you are, is it's worse for you that way.
Well, I think
Like, if I'm a
the
guy-
dick fart would be worse because that probably accompanies serious intestinal problems.
Well, let's not.
Or you can also get dick farts if you have a catheter in for a while and air gets shoved up there.
So once again, if you have a catheter and you either are paralyzed.
No,
or,
but you may just enjoy catheter insertion.
There's a community of people.
Who enjoy catheters.
who enjoy things shoved up their beehole.
What are they called?
I don't know what the
No, what's it
name is
called?
How do you get
Fuck,
there?
there's a name there. There's a name for it.
How do
Sounding.
Sounding.
How do
Yes.
some of these
Did you know that,
fetishes
Dallas?
I
fucking
did not know that,
happen?
no.
When you,
Learning lots today.
when you
TIL,
when you
eh?
non-medically insert something into the male urethra, the action is called sounding.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Why? Why'd they choose sounding?
And
Why
typi-
that
typi-
word?
typically it's
so fucked up.
typically it's metal rods of various diameters.
So that's and circumferences.
Yeah.
So that's
Brad
why.
brings up a good point though. How does one get there? Like what's the work up to that?
It's like I don't.
I think you're born that way. I think you're.
How?
You
I,
immediately start sticking things in your
no,
dick.
no. I think you're like like
You're talking about dick sticking. This is different.
you know certain
This is sound.
like
Sticking things in
they
your
they
dick.
found that like
That's what it is.
you have genetics, but like certain experiences can like turn those genetics on. I feel like a lot of like the really
Sounding
weird,
genetics.
really weird kinky shit is like that. Like, not that like it's that bad to be like into BDSM, but I feel like something weird has to happen where it's like, no, I want you to fucking tie me down and whatever
For me, I
weird
think it's
thing.
the same,
Something
like,
like
a
that.
lot of
Shit
it
like
has, a lot of it has, like, BDSM, especially because it's got to do with bondage and, like, loss of control and that kind of thing. A lot of it has to do with, like, Freudian, like, shit that happened with your parents when you were young.
Probably.
And, like, then,
I
like,
can't.
I can see
I
where
don't
you-
want to because I'm your dad, but I can't imagine what your awful bedroom is like because of your biological father and your
fucking leather mask with a zipper and our safe word is banana and
I got all that stuff out right, but
You got it out?
what's your safe word?
Roses.
I hope it's not porcupine.
It's pooter. Pooter. No, what was I
Just keep drinking it away.
Drink,
Here's a fun fact.
drink it
The
away.
digital creative, the people that does their digital creative at work, their company name is Pune. P-U-N-E.
Pune.
Pune?
Pune Creative.
That's
How
funny.
did they get there?
Overseas.
Well,
Oh, it's like
we'll
it's a
take
different language.
Yeah.
we'll take them in seas.
But it's, to us, it's P-U-N-E.
Pune.
Pune. I'll send this off to Pune.
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 It
Is
makes
that
me laugh.
pune like puny or pune like pussy? Like poon. Like poon.
Oh, Pune.
Okay, see, it's funnier to me because there's a story. I won't use names, but one of the guys, I definitely can't use names.
You really can't.
No,
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
can't.
you have a real job.
They're, no, not to do with work. This is back home.
Purely creative.
One of the guys from home, one of our buddies from home, was hooking up with this girl, and another one of our buddies text him, "Are you getting any poon?" But this particular guy isn't the best speller, so he spelled it P-U-N-E. We laughed about it forever.
Are you getting any pune?
So when our creative
Getting any
guys
kid?
years later started calling creative poon, spelled that way, I laugh every time now.
Getting any pun?
Yeah.
What? What is the worst non-cuss word that you can think of? Dallas, go ahead.
What?
Like not a swear.
Derogatory or cuss word, just a word that's totally okay to say in public that is the worst word.
Is
you can
it
think
is
of.
it like a gross sounding word or just
It's
like,
either, whatever.
Does this include like? Are we gonna disclude body parts from this?
If it's derogatory, you can't. If it's
Well,
the
no.
medical word, like penis is fine.
I think I was gonna say like saying vagina really loudly in public is kind of like
You
What?
know, the next time I step into a public place with you, I am going to open that can.
Scream.
you already we go to the grocery store.
No,
and
wait,
Brad
I'm going to
just-
let you tell that after.
Yeah.
We'll go through and then that'll be
Yeah.
the closing. Is that
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
most traumatizing experience of my life. Yeah, my vote's definitely for vagina, just because it's like there's no other word that really could be like it's like when you it's like you hear stuff that kind of sounds similar and you think that that's what it is. So actually saying it, it's like people are like, "What?"
Go ahead, Del.
But sorry,
I'm just I don't know.
giving you some time to think.
I'm thinking. It's probably not a bad word at all. It's just a gross sounding word. That's kind of where my head's at anyway. Like there's nothing wrong with the meaning of it. It's less about the meaning and just the way it sounds. But I can't think of something off the top of my head now.
When I think of a word like that, I think of moist.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
That's what I mean.
Everyone hates
type
that
of
word. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Brad? Brad?
I would say the one to me that comes to mind is a word that has like a double entendre meaning. Anal. Like saying someone is anally retentive, or like just being like, I'm very anal about this. It's a great word and it has a very specific meaning, but it's like you can never. I said it I said it in casual conversation, like saying like I'm very anal about this, and like saying it, I'm just like I can't think of not about assholes. I just said anal. That's what I'm thinking of now, and we already know from nobody's gonna say anything because like we're all sophisticated people here, and we know that. But it's like I said anal. I said it.
Like we know from previous podcasts, like that's not where my mind goes, but like we know from previous podcasts, you are kind of obsessed with butt stuff.
Fran? Is?
Yes, yeah. There was a whole specific podcast where you're
kind of remember that.
Let's talk about butt stuff.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and you had the whole specific thing.
Actually, I remember that because you just mentioned earlier that Jesse's never going to see this. Probably not. But one time when we went to Edmonton, I made her listen. I was a couple behind again, so I made her listen to the podcast the whole way there. So, and I'm pretty sure that was when you were talking about butt stuff. She's like, is this all they talk about? I'm like, yeah, pretty much. It's mostly about this.
So what's your word, Brad?
I have a friend that really made, like, he likes to, that's his thing. Whenever I hang out with him, I get in a one-track mind.
I know two guys from home that their thing is older women.
Well, there's one guy, and he absolutely is the one guy, because it's like his thing is like 65-year-old, like that, and
like
but it's but
Penthouse Plus.
But no, you know what's fucked up is like he's been that way since he was 12. Like he's always been like 65-year-old women are more attractive than women closer to 8. Like 40-year-olds way more attractive than 40-year-olds. Way more attractive than 30-year-olds.
He's gonna have.
He's like 20-year-olds are gross. Like his thing since he was 12 was 65-year-olds, and he's still there. At our current age, like he's just stuck on 65. That is
he is gonna be just have the time of his life when he's 60, when he's a senior citizen.
Yeah, when he's older, like he's playing the long game, and
he's gonna be one of the only old dudes who's like, yes, I love this.
I've reached my peak.
Can't remember where I heard it, but like it's like some old dude talking about like, yeah, just because I'm old doesn't mean I'm attracted to old people. Like, fuck.
I mean, I gotta say, it's like I do feel like you age. Like as you age, you become attracted to people your age.
What you're into matures with you.
That's what I found that it's like as I've grown older, it like people around my age are all I find attractive. Like, I've never been like what
for a while.
Well, I mean, for me. I mean, I found that
23-year-old girls are really fucking hot. Like, are you kidding me? It's like as I get into the early 20s, the girls are still attractive.
It's like
with their super tight bodies and great breasts. It's like I can still get into it.
It's like
their size 6 waistlines and super perky. It's 32C breasts. Like I can still get into it.
It's like when I was 18, I used to think 18-year-olds were attractive. And now that I'm 20, like I guess I still think 20-year-olds are pretty attractive.
It's like now that I'm 23.
It's like
fair enough. That sounds ridiculous.
I feel Fran just gets railroaded.
That's just a ridiculous thing to say. It's like I still find women my age attractive.
But I'm just saying.
It's like
but here's
so do the 900,000.
Hey, here's the point. I find girls around my age more attractive than I find like an 18-year-old. So there you go. How's that?
Yeah, but I feel like when you're 18, you found 23-year-olds more attractive as well, probably.
I don't think so. But I've always I've always enjoyed people who are more around my age. Like that's always been my thing, I think.
Yeah, we're just gonna see how long that plays out.
Yes, yeah, maybe one day when I'm 40, I'm like, oh god, I don't like these 40-year-olds.
It's like those 26-year-old girls are so hot.
So
anyway, I think
your word
vascular.
Yeah, that's
vascular
that's
veins.
It's just
I mean, it's like if you don't
sounds-
like blood or like internal organs, like yeah.
it's not even the things, the connotations or the things that brings to mind. The word vascular.
What are the cords in your balls called?
The nut cords? I don't know.
No, it's got a word because I was trying to think of what it was because I don't like that word. I know it exists and I've heard it before and I never enjoyed it. I also don't really like the word cord. The word cord makes me kind of uncomfortable.
Like it's the opposite of a fallopian tube.
Anyway, so Andrew, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with me
Oh my God, it
over
was
your
just
lifetime?
awful.
Just over your lifetime.
There's one specifically that really.
Well, give
haunts
people
me.
a little bit.
So I was definitely not as outgoing as I am today, and to
You're a
Brad's,
little more socially sensitive, is what I would say.
I would say I was shy. I didn't love being in public.
When was this?
In high school, and I grew out of that largely because I have to give him credit first because of these instances, but in a bid to
I save lives.
in a bid to break me out of my shell, and to a point it was very welcome. Not welcome, but it was a necessary evil, let's say. And then beyond that point, it wasn't. But Brad would say very loud, embarrassing things, outlandish things in public. Sometimes directed at sometimes, hey, this guy's stealing, or like some stuff like that in like the middle of the Cornwall, like this guy's an animal, look out, hurry, like watch him, watch out. In the middle of the Cornwall, or like just various
Shopping center in Regina, the major shopping center.
Not like Cornwall.
not like the cornhole center, not like a place you go to get cornholed. Like
Okay, but
Cornwall.
continue. I think this is hilarious.
Cornwall.
I've been waiting a long time to hear this. Go ahead.
So-
Andrew.
Before I officially moved out here, before Prehistoric Productions officially started, I was here on the scouting mission, living in the basement. I commandeered Brad's room. He lived with his girlfriend, Kelsey, and I was living in Brad's room for 3 months in the fall. And one day we went to Safeway, and we're in Safeway, and this older gentleman accidentally.
He's not a gentleman.
This older
Brigadier.
This older fellow.
Brigadier.
This older fellow.
Brigand.
Happens to accidentally bump into Brad. I am telling my side of the story,
Okay.
sir. And Brad looks so disgusted. He's like, and he says like, not like as loudly as he will eventually get, but he says to me, "Do you see what that old guy did? You see what that guy did? I should have lit that old cunt up." And I'm like Brad, like they're like I can see like mothers and children.
Already, I'm near inaudible, and
Yeah.
he's already like, "You should."
No, you weren't. You weren't. You were not inaudible.
I was
you were,
near.
You weren't whispering. You weren't whispering. You were speaking at. You weren't yelling. You weren't yelling. You were speaking loud enough that like someone in the aisle definitely would have heard you say cunt, because cunt is a very distinctive. When you hear someone say cunt, you know it's the word cunt.
Actually, that's my word. That's an ugly word.
But we said no.
But it's a curse.
I like that word.
I love it.
Go
I
ahead,
love
Dallas.
It's very
Or go ahead, Andrew.
So then Brad could see that I was uncomfortable. This is after I'm very much out of my shell. I don't have the same hang-ups that I did. And then Brad proceeded to spend the entire time, I literally pretend I didn't know him, and shut down and like go to the checkout. It was probably a good 5 to 10 minutes of him just every couple seconds, yeah, I should have lit that old cunt up.
With increasing volume every time.
Yeah, until we were at the checkout, and he was shouting it, and people were visibly uncomfortable. They were looking at him. Mothers didn't know what to do with their children, and Brad just looked around, looked them in the eye, turned to me, yeah, I should have lit that old cunt up. And he would increasingly get more emphasis on cunt. Yeah, I should have lit that old cunt up. And it was fairly traumatizing just because people were looking to me like, deal with this man. He's not stable. Do something. What is wrong with this man? There are children here. I just had to pretend like, I don't know who he is. He's standing beside me. I don't know who he is.
And then I recreated this action.
To lesser effect.
At least a dozen times.
At least a dozen times. Most recently in Walmart, he kept shouting about, we're having a jerk-off party. Does anyone want to come to our jerk-off party? With increasing volume. We're buying lots of black lights. Does anyone want to come to our jerk-off party?
Can you imagine having a jerk-off party and then buying black lights so you can see where you jerked off?
It's so fun to do, and it's like
The hypothetical you just posed to me is incredible.
It's so... Once you get the pride, once you get the verbatim...
There should be no pride.
Honestly, that one didn't bother. Like, as you do it, it's like a vaccine. I become immune to it. Until I was like, at the end of the trip, even I was like, "Hey, should we invite this guy to our jerk off party?" And I joined in into the.
Joined in.
I don't like I just like saying stuff like.
See me, it's like
I want to put this shitty chocolate bar in my asshole. Like,
I don't mind when you get really loud because then it's like at the end of the day, I still have deniability, and like if the cops show up, I'm just like,
he's unstable. Like
I will sewer it. Like I will give you whatever information you need. Like I will sewer this man to not be.
I've got a great legal team, and that's why I'm willing to go as far as I do.
Yeah. You go.
Do you watch The Impractical Jokers ever, Brad?
No.
Have you seen any of like the punishments that they have to do? Like, there's one I watched that made me watching it, made me feel physically. They do these challenges and like different things, and like one of the things is like they'll have cameras on this guy, and he'll have an earpiece in, and they'll do something, and he has to like say something to people or like this one.
Are you talking about those guys like take all your clothes off and run home right now?
Kind of. They do stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh,
The most recent one it's not most recent that they did, but the one I most recently watched. This guy's like a poet, like a story reading at this like it's like this intimate, like there's like 40 people there, and he's set to like read a story, and they're like, you can't your punishment is you can't shut your phone off. And they keep calling him, and it's this ringtone is, whose phone is ringing? My phone is ringing. And people are like visibly like furious at him, like, shut that fucking thing off. And he's like, I tried, I can't. And like they keep calling him, and it keeps going off, and people keep getting
fuck. If you give me a
mad.
few drinks, we could make a series and it's like I'll do some pretty embarrassing shit.
I will not be involved. I hate social. That shit is I do not find it funny. I can't even watch it. I hate it so much. I don't find it funny.
What about Get Low Guy?
It's just awful for everybody.
What about Get Low Guy?
What do you mean?
Like the guy who sings like, so shorty, so.
Oh no! Everybody laughed. Like that was everybody thought it was funny. Like,
3,
there was no embarrassment.
I'm not saying doing like when Kenny takes the ladder and everywhere, like that kind of stuff. That like you still have to take balls.
Okay, yeah. If we could think of stuff that wouldn't make me want to fucking kill myself being involved anyway.
Gallon smashing, I really enjoy that.
I hate...
What?
Gallon smashing?
What's that?
Oh, yeah, they go to
Videos of guys just smashing jugs of milk in the store.
Really?
Yeah.
They walk in, smash,
I
walk away.
I don't like those either.
But like they really play it up. Like it's not just like they don't walk in and like walk out.
The ones where
like,
they pretend to
they like smash it, then they walk through it and do like a bigger lap and fall like in it. And, like so they try to get these old people like trying to help them up. And they're like swimming in the milk on the floor.
No, here's the things that
The only reason
I don't like. Have you seen it? The Australian guys, and they just walk on and they're all phone videos, and it's like, you wouldn't do this, you wouldn't do this, and they just keep upping the ante. It's like, I bet you won't take all your fucking clothes off and run home, and they're like miles away from home.
The Rooster Teeth guys they had a series kind of like that, and the worst one I saw that was like, this is fucked up that they made him do that. They made the one guy, it was like his 10th school anniversary.
Oh, you showed me that one, yeah.
And they're like, you have to go with a blow-up doll, and you have to 100% tell people that it's your wife, and you're in a relationship, and you are married to this thing. And it's like, you can't be funny. It has to be serious, and you have to seem like you're somebody who's got a... So
mental
he goes
problem.
to this thing with all these people who've never seen him, and he's like, yeah, I'm jobbing. And he's like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. And it's like... And to his credit, he makes it seem like he's that fucked up. Like he's like, and then at points he's sitting. He feeds her, and like at points he's like with himself, and like you think like nobody's even looking at you right now. And he's like kissing her, and it's like, this is so fucked. And it's like people got so uncomfortable that it's like he left after a while, and then it's like
idea time.
I remember he said he had to he sent like 300 apology emails, and like because they let him after a week like tell everybody that he wasn't fucked up like that. But it was like, oh, it was so bad. Everybody was so uncomfortable with him there.
Those you wouldn't do it ones, those are just like, they're short pranks. They're not like stuff like that. Like
that it's too bad.
It's all like, go up to that guy's table and drink all of his mustard.
Yeah. But like, some of them get pretty like one of them he's like, made the guy lay down. And he just pissed on him, like on the street. So like, there's like people.
It's like
walking
literally
by.
anything.
Yeah.
It's like jump off this bridge. He's like, okay.
People who enjoy, I can't. I don't even understand it. I don't understand where the enjoyment is. Because the enjoyment cannot be worth the fucking embarrassment. Like just pure, like this sucks. This
what did
sucks.
you think of Bad Grandpa? Did you hate it?
Bad Grandpa?
Because that's essentially
There's
what
sequences
that movie
I
is.
enjoy. Most of it. No, I wouldn't say most of it. There's certain things.
I
I don't
loved it.
like the old woman with her tit out, and like with his balls
so
out and that
funny.
stuff. It's
See,
like,
I love that.
see, I don't like it.
I love the one especially where
The
he's like
tit out, I don't like. I don't because like, what's the guy's name that director?
Spike
Lee.
Spike Lee. Yeah.
I don't like because he gets himself
no,
in
Jones.
very.
Something.
No, it's Spike Lee, isn't it?
Which is the black director?
Spike.
Oh, maybe that's Spike Lee.
That's Jones, Spike Jones, or something like that. Yeah.
Well, anyways, that guy, like, he gets himself in very, very odd, uncomfortable. Like, there's the one where he's going on blind dates, and the one guy's like sexually harassing him, and that, like, some stuff just goes too far, and it's like this is, and like even he's like I'm not comfortable, like I can't do this anymore. He like stands up and he like rips his microphone off, and he's like, this guy is fucking weird, because the old guy who he has like on a false date with starts saying like really weird shit, and it's like I can't do this. Like, I can't. Like, it's just like, this is too far. The amount of laughs you will get is not worth this.
I just like, oh, some of them are so funny.
I'm trying to think of the Bad Grandpa ones I like. I like the stuff that's like the counter, like the experience. Like when he shows up at a strip club and they're like, oh, it's this old cute man. And then he's like, it's like, that's funny because like it's super counter to what you'd expect from
Like,
them.
it's like,
that's cute.
they nailed it with the, we gotta be close.
Oh no, we're done. Yeah, we're 5 minutes over.
Okay, anyway, this will be the last thing. You guys have all seen the Uncle Drew thing, the Pepsi commercial with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, where he
He
dresses
dressed
up like
as
the
an
old guy.
and they're
Yeah.
like, my guy's hurt. Uncle Drew's got to come in and play, but he's an NBA All-Star, and it's like just
Oh,
to pick
yeah,
up
I've
the
seen that
basketball,
one.
and he just dunks on everyone. Like, that's really funny.
Yeah,
I
that is
can't
funny.
do that.
Especially because like how long they're still like, what the fuck, and like they like
Yeah.
how long he's able to keep him going.
And he, Dale Earnhardt Jr. does do something similar where he goes like test drive the Camaro.
yeah, and he's like, shut this fucking car off. Like, the guy is freaking. Have you seen that one?
That's so good.
Yeah.
And he's like, the guy's like, I'm calling the cops right now. He's like, whoa. It's like, I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's like, let's do it again.
That one part in Ricky Bobby where he peels in and then the fucking the
Driving
test driver
instructor.
guy is like shaking. He's like, you are an incredible driver.
Well, thank you, Dallas, for joining us on today's Smodcast. Schmeckcast for Schmodcast.
That's copyright infringement. We are no way associated with Kevin Smith.
He said schmodcast.
He said Smodcast initially.
I said the Schmeckcast for Schmodcast. Schmodcast.
See you.